Hello everyone, I'm Megan Sullivan and welcome to this PlayStation 5 review of Atelier Yumia, the alchemist of memories and the envisioned land. If you like these types of honest, straight-to-the-point videos, please like and subscribe, I would truly appreciate it. Thank you. So the review embargo is up and I am free to tell you that I find Atelier Yumia to be a delightful open-world RPG with a satisfying gameplay loop, lovely music, nice visuals, an interesting premise, and enjoyable exploration. I've been having lots of fun with it. Yumia brings a lot of new and interesting things to the series, and I want to talk all about it. Having said that, it's not flawless. The story has serious pacing issues, the onboarding process is terrible, the map and quest markers can be confusing, and while the characters have interesting backstories, not all of them have interesting personalities. But I'll get to all of that in just a bit, so let's dive in and talk about all the newfangled features Atelier Yumia brings to the table. One of the newest features for the series is a big open world to explore. Seriously, I'm impressed with the size of the map, and I'm impressed that it's not just a bunch of empty space. If you take a look at this video I recorded of the map, you'll see that even though I was near the end of the game, there was still a ton left to explore. And thanks to plenty of fast travel points, nifty zip lines, and an awesome motorcycle that actually controls well, exploration is a breeze. I do have some nitpicks though. Map markers and directions can be confusing. Nearly 30 hours into the story, I was told to go to the top of a metal tree, and what the directions really meant was go into a cave? Like I said, a little confusing. Then there's the mana core system, which ties nicely into the story but is somewhat of a nuisance. When Yumia is out and about in the world, certain places are mana bound, overflowing with the planet's energy, which is made up of people's memories. The planet's energy, yes I know this sounds like something out of Final Fantasy VII, is a good thing, but when there's too much concentrated in one place, it becomes poisonous. Yumia is able to traverse mana-bound places because she has a special alchemical core that protects her from it, but that core has a meter attached to it, and when it depletes, it prevents Yumia from performing alchemy-related actions. The good news is it's easy to replenish your meter, and if you have extra energy to spare, you can use it to jump from high places and not get injured, which is a very useful shortcut tool. Oh, and also you can clear mana-bound energy by going to specific locations. But the whole concept of having limited time to explore until you clear the mana around you is kind of annoying. Just let me explore, game, because there's useful, fun stuff to do out there. There are resources to gather, monster challenges to try, chests to repair and open, treasure houses to pilfer, and random side quests to complete. It's genuinely fun to explore in Atelier Yumia, and when you're not foraging and fighting monsters, you can set up camp or build a base. And here I want to stop and talk about base building because this is also a new feature. So one of the things Gust wanted us to get hyped for is base building, and it's fun. I hate that there's no real tutorial on how to do it. The game just has you build an alchemy station and then is like, good luck. But once you puzzle it out, it's actually very easy. You can snap together floors and doors and windows from different material, as well as mix and match different types of furniture. And if you're more interested in being an interior decorator than a full-fledged architect, you do have prefab bases you can just plunk down, and I super appreciate that. These are fully functioning bases, by the way. If you build a bed, you can sleep in it and restore your health. If you design a dressing room, you can change outfits. And if you produce a couch or two, your team members will sit on them and briefly comment on current story events. You can even do some alchemy if you make yourself a little alchemy station. I really like this idea, I just don't really understand the point. To be honest, the feature is not well incorporated into the rest of the gameplay loop. It's just kind of there. But since I think base building should be optional anyway, I really don't mind. So if you like this kind of thing, I'm pleased to say it's actually pretty fun and accessible. And you know what else is fun? The battle system, which has been completely rehauled. In Atelier Yumia, the fast-paced combat mechanic involves 2 attack zones, which allow characters to perform close and ranged attacks. And what I like is you can switch between these zones at any time. You can also swap between characters and perform an array of interesting combos, or go into the menu system and order your AI companions to focus on healing or attacking, etc. Yumi and her friends can also guard or dodge incoming attacks, as well as team up for friend actions, where a stunned enemy can be tag teamed with an elemental weapon for maximum damage. All of this combined makes combat feel wonderfully energetic and intuitive, though most of the time it's not very challenging. Even on hard difficulty mode, and yes, you can change the difficulty level at any time, battles take just a few seconds or minutes at most. But there's definitely a difficulty spike towards the end of Yumia's journey, so it's important to have high-level gear. And guess what? This is a crafting game, so you'll be making lots of weapons along with armor, healing items, etc., etc., which brings me to the most important mechanic in the game, alchemy, aka the resonance synthesis system. And I will be brutally honest with you guys, I have very mixed feelings about this mechanic. The resonance synthesis system, which lets you craft and upgrade just about anything, is simple and yet kind of convoluted. First, you need to run around the world collecting particles, bits of memory mana found in the wild. You then use these particles to unlock recipes. You can also use particles to upgrade party gear and items, by the way. Once you unlock a recipe, you then go to a different alchemy station where you'll be able to make an item and strengthen it through a mini-game involving 3 magical mana cores. These cores allow you to improve an item's quality, its effectiveness, or add an additional slot to gear. What do you put in a slot? Upgradable crystals that raise your gear's base stats. At any rate, each core has a number of slots where you put ingredients found in the field. If these ingredients quote-unquote resonate with each other, they'll help make that item even better. You'll know if certain ingredients resonate with each other because their resonance, a bright glow, will overlap, and if they incorporate floating mana around the mana core, the final product will be even better. There are also stat multipliers you can add as well. Oh, by the way, you have to upgrade those crystals I was talking about from earlier at a different alchemy station, just so that's clear. Now, I think longtime fans of the series will get the knack of this pretty quickly, but as someone who hasn't played an Atelier game in quite a while, this entire process was complete gobbledygook to me. And that's because Atelier Yumia has a terrible onboarding process. In the first 30 minutes of the story, you have endless walls of text thrown at you, overflowing with fantasy jargon that makes no sense. You do have a guide you can consult in the Ho-Hum UI, but parts of it are pretty vague. It took me hours to truly understand how everything came together, and even now I'm not entirely sure I fully understand it. The fantastic news is I don't have to, and neither do you, because there's an entire auto-synthesis option available. You just tell the game what you want to focus on, quality, effectiveness, etc., and let it do the heavy lifting. And I highly encourage fans to keep at it because once it all finally clicks, experimentation, a big part of alchemy, becomes pretty fun. And by the way, kudos to the simple synthesis system, which allows you to automatically craft things like camping equipment so you can cook stat-boosting food and rest out in the wild without having to return to base. So I've talked about combat, alchemy, and exploration. Let's talk about the story and characters. First off, I love the concept of Atelier Yumia. It's all about a generational alchemist trying to prove alchemy is good in a post-apocalyptic world that was destroyed by alchemy. Now, I admit that Yumia's character design, with her pink-streaked hair, killer heels, and slick motorcycle skills, had me all excited we'd finally get a chemist with some teeth. After all, Yumia is shunned by most people for continuing her mother's work as an alchemist. But as it turns out, Yumia is just a hard-working researcher who just wants to learn the truth about how alchemy helped bring down a powerful empire centuries ago. She's very likable, she's just not very edgy. By the way, on her research team are Isla, a cheerful noble girl who wields a spear, Victor, her aloof, stick-in-the-mud brother, Rutger, an obnoxious tsundere more interested in treasure hunting than friendship, Lenya, a timid girl who just wants to help, and the cool but somewhat pervy Nina, a mercenary with very interesting origins. This team's job is to clear mana-bound areas and find out what ruined the world centuries ago. And you do learn a lot about the former empire and its emperor, and there are a couple of really interesting plot twists that I won't give away here. Now, like I said, the premise of the story and the plot and characters get really interesting, especially in the second half of the game. Actually, especially when Yumia's team finally seems to be bonding in a meaningful way. There's a super cute montage of them spending quality time together that I wish we saw more of in Western RPGs. The issue I have is basically the pacing. The first 20 hours of the game are such a slog. Even when the villains are introduced, there's no serious sense of urgency and there's no real tension between party members, despite Yumia being somewhat of an outcast. Everyone is nice, but outside of some major story beats, their conversations, which are voiced by an excellent Japanese cast by the way, rarely gets past cordial. I just don't get the impression that they're all that tight of a group. Well, at least not until the very end when the stakes get really high. Things definitely get pretty interesting at that point, and even when the plot comes to a crawl, it is worth pushing forward just to learn what's really going on. And there it is. Atelier Yumia is definitely worth your time. Should you pay full price for it? I think so, but that's really up to you. You can wait for it to go on sale. It's not such an amazing game you have to go out and play it right now, but I would definitely keep it on your radar. It's fun. Thanks so much for watching, guys. See you later.